Yes, so formation lap begins then for the next of our races, the Goodyear Mini Challenge supported by Mini Spares, and it's the Mini 7s and the S-Class to look forward to this time round. Let's take you through the grid then, how this final race for them lines up. Damien Harrington, car number 29 on pole position with 77, Bradley Jordan alongside. Second row then sees number 73, Spencer Wanstall, finally won this year after leading the championship for so long. He's got number 2, Ross Billison for company. Third row number 41 is Daniel Munro with 39, Glenn Woodbridge. Then back to row 4, it's 16, Andrew King, and 38, Stephen Hopper. The fifth row, number 35, Harry Taylor, and 22, Graham Davis. And then 37 is next up, Gareth Hunt with 14, Jamie Payne. The seventh row, number 20, is Darren Thomas. He'll be joined by 58, Matthew Ayres, and Ian Corson should be there in number 19 to complete the Mini 7s. Then we move back to the S-Class with Joel Wren on pole and 796, Michael Winkworth alongside. The second row, Callum Perfect, 765 and 746, Ollie Burkitt. Then we'll see 745, Louis Burkitt, and 736, Bertie Woolard. The fourth row, 728, Alfie Glennie, and 793, Patrick McCarthy. Row 5, 750, James May, and 722, George Welsh. The next row, 797, is Jack Vanna, joined by 799, Daniel Balster. And then towards the rear, 783, James Bull, and 795, Tom Johnston. The penultimate row, 772, Matt Howard, and 778, Kate Fraser-Kerr. And the final row, 787, Holly King, and 748, Mal Dickinson. So that gives you the complementary of all the drivers for this Mini 7 race, with the S-Class going off second. We had a bit of drama early on. We had a few cars in the gravel. That was caused by Alfie Glennie, who went for a rotation. And unfortunately, George Welsh was caught out and ended up in the gravel. So his car had to have a little bit of repair work done as well. Damien Harrington, as I said, has been the man who has tried to catch up with Spencer Wanstall in the championship this weekend. He came off the run of 3 good races at Zandvoort with 3 wins. Came here yesterday, took the first of the wins, finished second yesterday, and now we'll go with toe-to-toe. And Spencer Wanstall, who after not winning so far this season, but has led the championship coming here this weekend, finally broke that duck. So Spencer Wanstall is the man who has now got his final tick in the box for a victory. What can he do from what's going to be row 2 this time round? We'll wait and find out, because the green flag has been waved at the back. The 20 minutes of racing are about to get underway. The red lights are going to come on, and as soon as they are extinguished, we are going to go. And here we head off towards the first corner. Bradley Jordan, for the 3rd time this weekend, has not made the best start whatsoever, so he might need some help from Andrew and Mike to see if he can nail those starts going forward. But it's going to be Damien Harrington who leads the pack down towards Paddock Hill Bend. Second place for Ross Billison and Spencer Wanstall, the earlier race winner, there in 3rd place. The S-Class is away as well. I think Callum Perfect has made the best of the starts, with Michael Winkworth trying to go around the outside in towards Paddock Hill Bend, but in fact it's going to be one of the Burkitts in that green and white machine that heads the pack up towards Druids for the first time. It's Louis Burkitt actually who is going to lead the pack there from what was the 3rd row of the grid by the looks of it. So a fantastic start there for Louis, as they all now vie for position on the run down towards Graham Hill Bend. It's Michael Winkworth on the outside to try and get the 3rd place away, which he does. Just ahead of him, the 741 machine now is going to be that of Joel Wren. So really needs a positive result this weekend, as Joel has some bad luck, unfortunately, so looking to end the weekend on a high if he can. Meantime, race leader overall, Damien Harrington, has probably about 2 car lengths over Ross Billison as they turn their way in towards Paddock Hill Bend at full racing speed on this occasion. And Spencer Wanstall there in 3rd, challenge for 4th place. Dan Munro up on the curb to try and get past Bradley Jordan. He's still going to try and push for it as they head their way up towards Druids for the 2nd time of asking. And Dan Munro, can he go through on the inside line of the Swift Tune car? The answer is yes. So Munro goes through. 41 now ahead of 77, and then up the road, Damien Harrington having to defend now from Ross Billison, because all over the back of him he surely is in that number 2 machine. So they accelerate along the Cooper Straight for the 2nd time of asking. A little bit of no man's land at the minute for Spencer Wanstall, but there or thereabouts he definitely is. And then the fight for 4th place comes through with those 2 cars next up, and then 6th position is going to be that man of Glenn Woodbridge, who in the earlier race was very much there with the leading pack, so he'll be trying to do the best he can on this occasion. We've got, unfortunately, a retirement already for Graham Davis. His car has pulled off with some mechanical issues, so we're left with 28, and we now have a move down the inside line, because the 722 machine of George Welsh, after being in the gravel at Paddock Hill Bend in race number 2, has just gone through there on the 799 machine. So a lovely move there to get past Daniel Balster, and it's going to be 3 wide across the line as well in the S-Class as they accelerate down towards Paddock Hill Bend. It's inside line there for the 728 machine of Alfie Glennie. Nearly 4 more wide, in fact, as one of the Burkitts tries to get involved as well. That'll be Ollie Burkitt in that car, the green and white machine, which goes ahead for the time being, but they're still going to be side by side behind as they turn their way in towards Druids Corner, and down the inside line is the 750 machine of James May, almost up on two wheels, bit of barge in between the two of them as well. But what a great fight this is within the S-Class.
It certainly is. It's very much classic mini racing. Side by side, three abreast. Oh, and another bump there. James May in the 750 car catching the back of the car in front of him, and that's Glennie. Those it's closer than close, that racing, and certainly hustling those cars through. As we look over towards Paddock Hill Bend, and it is the leader, Damien Harrington, who's really being hassled by the number 2, Ross Billington. So that's that green 29 car and the white and blue Ross Bilson. He is really flying, trying an attempt at the outside, round the outside as they go round Druids, but that's to no avail. So he's cut back inside and then having another go as they head towards Graham Hill Bend, but unfortunately not able to do anything about Damien Harrington, who is not on the apex but sitting his car bang in the middle of the corner. Spencer Wanstall in the 73. A couple of times ago he was fastest lap, but it is this time the 29 of Damien Harrington that set the fastest lap, but the lap times ever so close between this leading three. And just having a quick look, I did hear you say that that Bradley Jordan didn't get away from the start all that well, and he is back at the moment in 5th place, and it is Daniel Munro in the 41. Those two look like they could be trying to work together to catch up to this leading group of three as they head into Paddock Hill Bend, and Ross Billison again having a go up the inside, and actually our leader is off. Our leader is off into the gravel. Damien Harrington in the 29, that green car. He's doing desperately well to try and keep that car going, and he does keep the momentum going, and he does manage to get through the gravel at Paddock Hill Bend and back out onto the circuit, but he certainly lost a huge chunk of time. And in that incident, it also looks like Ross Bilson may have also been wrong-footed, because he's dropped down to about 3rd place, and it is now Spencer Wanstall in the 73, that red Mini, that is now leading, and it is Daniel Munro in the 41 that's in 2nd place. Incredibly closely behind him is Ross Billison in the number 2, and then it's Bradley Jordan in the 77. So all change at the front due to that incident at Paddock Hill Bend. Yeah, it just shows how things can quickly change in these races with one small mistake, unfortunately, for Damien Harrington. So he's going to drop all the way down the order as Dan Munro is trying to defend from Ross Billison on the run down towards Paddock Hill Bend. It gets tight between the two of them as they turn into the corner. The two white cars we're focusing on. You've got another one to add into the mix as well, which is Bradley Jordan. So this is all now for 2nd place, but all of a sudden, as we said, Spencer Wanstall is the man that heads the way. So it gets very tight for 2nd place, but of course with Damien Harrington now down the order in what's going to be 9th place at the end of that lap, he's got some real work to do, and I think the only thing that's going to help him now to get back to that lead battle is going to be a safety car. So he'll be hoping for that. It was almost him that actually caused the safety car, but with a few tyres, with a bit of dust on the left-hand side, he shouldn't be too bad now to carry on his way and try and catch up and go as high as he can within this one. But for now, Spencer Wanstall is the man under pressure. Dan Munro looking for his best result of the weekend in that number 41 machine, so he pushes on through the corner, yet to be on the podium here this weekend at Brands Hatch, and then Ross Billison and Bradley Jordan with them as well. Yeah, Munro in that 41 car did, of course, in the first race of the weekend have that 10-second penalty for being out of position on the grid, didn't he? So that ruined his chances in that race, but this time by Ross Billison really tried around the outside at Paddock Hill Bend, but he's got the momentum, has Ross, as they head up towards Druids to go round the outside of the 41 of Daniel Munro. And can he make it stick? He's certainly got the car on the outside, which gives him the inside line at Graham Hill Bend, but is he going to make it stick? Yes, he certainly is. Cracking move there, side by side as they go through Graham Hill Bend, but it does look like the momentum is with the number 2 of Ross Billison, and he's going to be able to hold it. They're still side by side, a little bit of dust being kicked up as they head up towards McLaren and Clearway section of the circuit, but it looks like Dan Munro has managed to force his way back up the inside. Incredibly close racing for about 3 or 4 corners there. Those two cars were completely side by side, a move that was set up at Paddock Hill Bend by Ross Billison, and they're coming down the pit straight at the moment, and hopefully Ross Billison's going to try that again. He does. He goes round the outside, which is where he keeps the momentum. Dan Munro looks a little bit more wise to it at the moment, and he hugs bit more of the inside line. He does lose a bit of momentum, and the number 2 of Ross Billison keeps that momentum as they go up towards Clearways. And he actually, before they even get to Druids, he's made his way past already. And this time he has definitely got the inside line. He's definitely got his car in front. But Bradley Jordan is also sensing the opportunity in the 77 to get past Dan Monroe and also try and stick his nose up the inside of Ross Billington's car at the same time. But now it's Monroe and it's the 77 of Bradley Jordan who are side by side in a mirror image of what we were seeing on the lap before, but with 2 different cars. But Dan Monroe, again, wise to that one. You need your eyes everywhere in this one, don't you?
You do, yeah. And we've just gone through a yellow flag zone actually at Druids Corner, so that's probably why there was not too much overtaking, because George Welsh unfortunately has gone off for the second time today. So a bit of an impact with the tyres for that car. So we'll see if we get, we've got a red flag actually. So a red flag for that car, which is slightly into the barriers over there, which means the race will be halted for the time being. Just seeing if George is out in the car. Yeah, I did see him moving about, so it wasn't a heavy impact. There's a nice bit of tyres there for him to run into. But just on the exit of Druids Corner is where that car has stopped, as Spencer wants to. All that hard work he'd done to get to the lead and try to pull a gap over the rest of the field, that's not going to be good news for him. But for Damien Harrington, this is the bit of luck he needed today, because it looked like he was down and out. He was going quicker actually. He was into the 59s and really closing in on the cars ahead of him. But all of a sudden, Damien Harrington now gets the bit of luck, as I said, he needs. And it depends where we go back to. If we go back a lap, he'll still be down on about the 4th row of the grid. If we go back to a full restart, he'll be back up there towards the head of the order on pole position. So for now, red flag with what was 8 minutes completed. Officials just showing that they didn't really have enough time to clear the car and get the race back underway. So we might have a reduced distance, but in the interest of safety and to allow the recovery of George Welsh to get underway, it is a red flag, which means the cars will head back to the start-finish line and wait for the marshals to grid them back out once again.
Yep, that is certainly what we've got is that red flag, and it's a bit of a shame. One thing that has been cracking, we've had such close racing. It's the first of the red flags today, and with such close racing and the kind of incidents we've had, it's an absolute credit to the clerk of the course and the officials that we've got here this weekend that we've been able to keep everything going. So all credit to them. First red flag, and does look like all are okay, but obviously safety comes first, and we need to make sure that car can be removed to a safe area. So at the moment we can see the cars being brought round and lined up on the grid. The marshals are sticking their heads in the car and just having a quick word with the drivers to give them an idea of what's going on, what the restart procedure is. We can see that car in the barriers at the exit of Druids there, and hopefully the damage isn't too bad, but certainly the car has hit the tyre wall, and it looks like the red flag is probably because it looks like the tyre wall has come away from the barrier there a little bit, and that is always the case. When those kind of things happen, it is far safer just to stop and fix those to make sure we can continue. We've also got a black and white flag, which I'm assuming will be for track limits, and that's for the 38 car. So the 38 car is just having a quick look. It's Stephen Hopper, black and white flag. I'm assuming again that one's for track limits, and we can see that flag up on the start-finish gantry. And you're right in mentioning before, the numbers are quite small on that gantry, aren't they, in terms of being able to see them. But yeah, we can see the marshals are all out on the grid. The mini drivers opening their doors, as you said earlier. They keep the heaters on in these cars to keep the hot air away from the engine. And if any of you have owned one of these cars in the past, you'll know exactly why you do that. But the drivers sitting on the grid with the doors open, you can see a lot of the drivers moving the doors to try and fan to get a bit of air in the cars, just while we wait for this recovery to happen.
Yes, I can actually see George Welsh, who's just sitting actually by the side of the track there, where they've just taken a moment to catch his breath, because the runoff actually at the exit of Druids is not that big. So if you do go in there, it might catch you by surprise on a few occasions. So George's car about to be recovered, and the circuit maintenance team out there to put some tyres back into place as well. So this is the perfect opportunity to tell you what's coming up here at Brands Hatch in the not too distant future, because next Sunday we've got another festival field to look forward to, because Festival Italia will be taking place as Brands Hatch celebrates one of the planet's most passionate automotive nations on Sunday the 10th of August with the family-friendly event which blends a themed programme on the race circuit with a colourful off-track show to match as well. Festival Italia will be here next Sunday the 10th of August. There'll be plenty of action on the Indy Lounge, just like we've seen this weekend, which includes dedicated races for Ferraris and Alfa Romeos, alongside various parades and demonstrations throughout the day as well. Special vehicles taken to the track this year include a selection of 80s and 90s F1 machines, and also the rare Maserati MC Extrema, which is the hypercar which you will not want to miss. So do get here next Sunday if you can. The wider show will embrace Italian culture too, with a major road car display featuring Ferraris, Alfas, Fiats, Lancias and other manufacturers from Italy. And also there's going to be a motorcycle showcase with live Italian music, Italian food market stalls, and a Birra Moretti beer garden, and so much more to look forward to. This year also features the exciting new edition of the Italian kitchen presented by Hexclad and Louisa's Honey, so make sure you get a little bit of that as well. And an all-new cooking demo show featuring previous contestants from Great British Bake Off and also MasterChef as well. Tickets, as ever, are available before the event at a discounted rate of £26 in advance, with reductions for 13 to 15-year-olds, and as ever, under 13s do get in for free. You can either head to brandshatch.co.uk for all the details, or festivalitalia.com for more information. The weekend after, again, another event to look forward to is the Mismatch at the Hatch, which is another great event here at Brands Hatch on the 16th of August. That'll be a Saturday. So the all-new Mismatch at the Hatch car show arrives this summer for a day's off-track entertainment, which is devoted to celebrating the ordinary cars you love. Yep, so nothing really too extreme, just ordinary stuff here at Brands Hatch. You won't find any supercars, but instead a selection of unsung road-going heroes adored for a wide range of reasons. If you've checked out the Brands Hatch website and clicked on this event, you'll see some unusual cars on there as well, which is quite amusing. So if you fancy that, do come along. There's going to be production cars up to the year 2005, which will form the backbone of the show, with everything from British Leyland staples to French classics via German and Japanese retro icons here as well. Ultimately, all of these are welcome, and the joy of Mismatch of the Hatch comes from not fully knowing what you'll find. And if you want to take part, you can also get your car here as well. All the details on the website brandshatch.co.uk. The car show will also be accompanied by a busy on-track race offering from the British Racing and Sports Car Club, with an eclectic selection of cars in action. And applications to display your pre-2005 car, no supercars though, for free can still be made at displaymyvehicle.com. And if you want to come along to that event to either look at the cars or watch the racing, admission is once again £23 in advance, with reductions for younger people, and all the details can be found at brandshatch.co.uk. They are just a couple of events coming up here in August. I know we've got Brands Britannia back this year towards the end of the month. That's going to be organised by the Classic Sports Car Club. We've got, of course, the annual visit of the British GT, GB3, GB4 and Ginettas here as well in just a few weeks' time. And, of course, as we head through the year, we've got the final rounds of the British Touring Car Championship, the final rounds of BSB, which were just here last weekend, and, of course, the ever popular, ever entertaining British Truck Racing Championship, which normally brings the curtain down on the Brands Hatch season with that spectacular firework display as well. So if you fancy any of those events or any other club events which are coming up here between now and kind of November, then do check out the website. All the details on there, whatever takes your fancy. We'd love to see you back here at Brands Hatch for some great racing, because it's a wonderful circuit, and very lucky if it's in your neck of the woods to come down to.
They do sound like fantastic days out, don't they? I particularly fancy the Italian one. I mean, what can you go wrong with Ferraris, Maseratis, Alfa Romeos, pasta and beer? I mean, it sounds good, doesn't it? Also, the other thing is they say they're going to be 80s and 90s F1 cars. If you haven't heard 80s and 90s F1 cars, if you've got any of the Ferraris, the V10s, the V12s, they will sound glorious around this natural amphitheatre of the Indy circuits here at Brands Hatch. That it really is one to come along to and have a listen, if not only a watch. And yeah, sounds like a great meeting. On the grid at the moment, we have the marshals working very hard to grid up our minis, and it looks like this is going to end up being almost a bit of a two-part race, isn't it? By the the look of things, because that red flag has led to us re-gridding up the cars, and at the front of the grid we do have Spencer Wanstall in the 73, Dan Monroe in the 71, just next to him on the grid. And so it looks like that battle is going to be able to carry on, with Ross Billison in the number 2, just behind him as well, and then Bradley Jordan next to him, and hopefully Bradley can get a bit of a better start, because the 77 hasn't really had the best of starts across the weekend. Unfortunately, one of the cars is being pushed clear of the grid. That's the 37 car of Gareth Hunt. There's clearly an issue there, and the marshals now having to push that car uphill to get it clear of the grid. But there's clearly an issue as to why Gareth can't rejoin and start this race. Looks like some kind of mechanical issue. So that's a real shame that we've lost another car. But as I say, that was the front 2 rows. We've then got by the look of things, the 39 car is taking up 5th position on the grid, and that's Glenn Woodbridge. And then he'll be joined on the 3rd row by car number 20. So that's Darren Thomas at the moment. That car lined up there. And then it's the number 29. And we speculated as to where Damien Harrington would be placed on the grid after that unfortunate incident where he ended up in the gravel, losing a huge amount of time from the lead of the race. But he managed to get the car back on track under his own steam, did a really good job of that. Now he's cleaned the dust off the tyres. Hopefully he'll be very, very competitive, and he's probably one person who's quite pleased that this red flag has happened. So he lines up in 7th place on the grid, and he's followed by the number 16 of Andrew King alongside him. So the orange and black Mini alongside Damien Harrington on the grid. It looks like Gareth Hunt should have been lining up in 9th place, but that car's been pushed clear of the grid. Clearly a bit of a mechanical complaint with that car, and I think the next one up, I'm just trying to see from the commentary box because we haven't got a time limit, but I think it is actually the 38 of Steve Hopper, the blue Mini, that is on his own on the 5th row of the grid. The 6th row is made up of James Payne in the number 14, that kind of reddy brown and bright yellow coloured Mini, the bright yellow bumper and fairings of the number 14 of James Payne lining up there. And then bringing up the rear of the first class in this race is the 35 car, and that's Henry Taylor in that kind of aqua blue class colour car. And then we move towards the class for the 1.3 cars, the kind of bigger engine but not as heavily modified cars, and they lining up with a couple of grid slots gap between them to differentiate those 2 cars. They line up next, and as they go through we'll try and give you the numbers of that grid order, because of course this is a grid based on the previous lap finish, and so I'm not sure if we've got an updated grid yet on paper, but we're certainly doing it by looking out the window in the old-fashioned styly and being able to see where we are. But we are very much looking forward to what will be 11.5 minutes of the Mini 7 race. So 11.5 minutes, that's plenty of time for plenty of action, and these cars haven't disappointed so far this weekend.
No, it's been good. So at least they get a chance to do it all over again. Effectively, yeah, this is part 2, but of course we scrap what happened earlier on. That just gives us the grid effectively for this restart. So there's no kind of amalgamation of times. It's all what you see on the circuit. So very shortly, the cars will be heading off. Just got the final few places in the S-Class to be decided, which is just taking its time at the minute. But I think everyone is pretty much where they should be, as one of the scrutineers just had a quick check under the cars towards the back. But all being well, we should be away onto a green flag lap very shortly, and then that will give us, as Rob said, 11.5 minutes to look forward to, with the battles in the Mini 7s and also the S-Class to look forward to as well. It's going to be interesting to see what Damien Harrington can do now, because of course, as we said, a safety car would have helped. He's got a red flag, so it now gives him a brand new start to deal with. He sits there on the inside of row number 4. He's got a lovely gap in front of him, actually, which is just going to be where we find Glenn Woodbridge and that of number 20, which is the car of Darren Thomas.
Yeah, they're just looking at the cars on the grid, and Dan Munro, there is a little bit of, I'm not sure if it's smoke or steam or something coming from the front of the 41, just in front of the windscreen. But there is certainly something that's coming from the car. The marshal at the front here with the yellow flag has clearly noticed it, but it could be just something that will dissipate as the cars get moving. But certainly something to keep an eye on for the 41. There's certainly something venting at the front there. The green flag is waving and the cars get away, and the 41 does make its way away, but there is clearly something at the front. I'm not sure that could even be the fire extinguisher or something that's at the front there. It's something very odd and not being seen on any of the other cars at the moment. Two cars to keep an eye on, as you said, Damien Harrington in the 29 and how much he can make a way forward. But the other car is Bradley Jordan, who hasn't had the best of starts, has he, so far in the 77. So it'll be interesting to see what inroads he can make off the start and whether there's not much he can do about that. A couple of very, very slow starters at the very back of the grid, and it is Matt Howard in 772 and Holly King in 787. Those cars making it very slow, and it does look like Matt Howard there isn't going much further, is he? He's stopped on the grass on the outside before he even gets to Paddock Hill Bend.
Yeah, this is a problem, isn't it? With delays, it then causes problems for cars, which then causes further delays. So we were running quite nicely ahead of schedule, but due to that red flag, we've now had two more cars retire from the race. It would have been handy if that 772 machine would have pulled to the inside in the gap in the pit wall. We've got one on the outside on the start-finish line, so I'd be very surprised if this race goes ahead with these two cars where they are. So recovery is now needed. The red lights are on, which means the race will not begin. So again, further delays to this, unfortunately. All the cars are going to have to be stopped probably further back from where they were on the grid, and then marshals back on to hold them. So yeah, this is not ideal, and again with another delay it means there might be more problems as well. So these older cars do cause some problems. We do want to get the race underway, but unfortunately it's just delaying things a little bit longer.
Yes, it is, and marshals having their work cut out on the start finish line, because this is now three cars that they're having to deal with. One of them has got the rest of the recovery unit in attendance very, very quickly. I'm just trying to look at the number of the one that's on the outside of the start finish grid, which only made it a few meters really in the start of that race. But it is one of the fragilities of these older cars, remembering that these cars are all kind of based around the kind of late 1970s, early 1980s, and it is car 776, is that? Or
I think it's the 8, isn't it?
778. So that's Kate Fraser Kerr car that is on the outside of the grid there. But it is one of the issues with these cars, the engines themselves from the mid to late 1970s, and yes, of course they've been modified and they've had work done on them, but the issue with a lot of these cars is cooling, and the fact that if they've been very, very hot from racing, and we see the drivers and they talk about having the heaters on all the time to try and dissipate some of that heat into the cab of the car, and why we see them there with the doors open. These cars are prone to overheating, and that's where we were seeing a bit of an issue with the 41, and I wonder whether that was steam or something from the 41 of Dan Munro, who's on the front row. And good news is that steam has stopped. So that either means two things: A, the problem's fixed, or there's no water left in the radiator, which could well be a problem later on, but I do hope it's the first of those options for Dan Munro, who hasn't had the best of luck this weekend. He had a 10-second penalty in the first race of the weekend for not starting in his grid slot, did he? Because he didn't get away quite well and quite quickly enough off the green flag lap, and ended up dropping into a grid slot. And interestingly, a couple of the marshals are now talking to Dan Munro on the grid in the 41 car, so hopefully that's not an issue for him, but yeah, there's certainly a bit of a tension going on with his car. It does look like the rest of the grid is kind of in formation, but yeah, Dan Munro's car is being pushed clear of the grid by the look of things, the marshals are indicating. So that's a really significant thing for this race, because not only was he a front row starter, but he was looking really rapid in that last race before the red flag happened, and we lose yet another car off the grid, with the marshals now pushing Dan Munro in the 41 car clear of the grid.
What a shame. That was going to be a perfect start for him from the front row, but with, as we said, that smoke and something leaking from the car, I think the scrutineers have decided they don't want that car to take part. So as we were down there on the grid walk, it's quite a run up towards Paddock Hill Bend, but of course the marshals will push that clear before it gets to the exit of the pit lane with a little drive-through that it can go into. So that's a real shame for Dan. So we're now, what's that, 3 down. We had, of course, George's car off that caused the red flags. There's 4 down, so we are losing quite a few before this restart even gets back underway, which is a very frustrating situation. Still got Kate Fraser-Kerr's car to be recovered, I'd have thought, as well, but we are now starting to run out of recovery vehicles and flatbeds as well. So whether they cover that one under a yellow flag, we'll have to wait and see. But I can see Kate over there. She's standing by with the marshals. Marshals now clear of the grid. There's more yellow flags down on the S-Class, which have now gone away, thankfully. So hopefully we can get this formation lap underway without any further dramas. The Burkitts, now move from the front row of the S-Class. There's one in the middle.
We've got one of the cars, and the driver is waving. We've got the yellow flags, and that car doesn't look like it's going anywhere under its own power. Oh no, actually, as I say that, the driver still waving, puts his hand in. And,
just happy.
Just happy to be here. And moves a hand in, and that car makes its way away. And it does look like Kate Fraser-Kerr's car, the 778 car, is going to be covered by the hazard boards, of course, and left at that part of the circuit for this race. Because you're right, the recovery crews there just aren't going to be any spare, because I think we've actually lost 5 cars now throughout that race. So as they make their way round now, it is Spencer Wanstall in the 73 who will be a lone person on the front row of the grid. He'll be on his own now that we've lost Munro. And there was clearly a bit of an issue, because the marshals are now dressing oil in the 41 in Daniel Munro's space there. So that steam, whatever, has caused some kind of oil leak, because there's a little bit of oil dressing. Marshals very quickly out to dress that, and they're now making their way clear of the circuit. But clearly, whatever that issue was for Dan Munro, was something relatively significant. So unfortunately, he's not there, but it is Spencer Wanstall in the red Mini with the black roof. 73 car that takes up his lead spot. It is Ross Billington in the number 2. And then it's joining alongside him is the 77 of Bradley Jordan.
Yep, so let's hope Brad gets a better start this time round. He's had a few stabs at it so far this weekend, but none have really gone right, unfortunately. But now with the kind of downhill run from the outside of row 2, this might be the best place for him to be. And of course, with the clear space in front now where Dan Munro's car would have been, that might be a helping hand as well. So here we go. We're going to try again. 11.5 minutes on the clock for this restart, with the final few cars into position towards the back of the S-Class. It's a separate start between the 2 classes. It's going to be the 7s off first. The red lights come on now, and away we go with a quick start. And it's going to be evens from the first 3 cars. Bradley Jordan's slightly better start, but already is going to be passed by the number 20 machine down towards the first corner, as they all like to vie for position in towards Paddock Hill Bend. Damien Harrington is already up into 4th, maybe 5th, as they run side by side up towards Druids for the first time of asking. And for the S-Class, they are away as well in towards the first turn, with Michael Winkworth leading the charge ahead of one of the Burkitts for the first time of asking, but all safely through, which is good to see as they head downhill for the first time. Darren Thomas is there in 3rd. Second place is going to be that car of Ross Billington, and he is the man who is doing the chasing on the race leader, who is still Spencer Wanstall. Yeah,
but the one to keep an eye on at the moment, as we said right the way from the beginning, was going to be Damien Harrington in that 29 car. Had that little bit of an incident in that kind of aqua greeny blue coloured car, and he's really pushing now. He's currently in 4th place, and he's really pushing for 3rd place. And as they come across the line, I don't think he's going to be able to hold on. And he goes round the outside the 29 of the number 20. So Thomas looks like he's going to lose space as they come up to Paddock Hill Bend. No, Damien Harrington just drops back a little bit, and he's taken the outside wider line, and I would expect an attempt as we move up towards Druid. And Damien Harrington is moving around quite a bit, but Darren Thomas is doing all he can to hold him off at the moment. And Bradley Jordan is going going to take an advantage of this, and he dives up the inside of the 29 of Damien Harrington, but he's not going to be able to hold on to that as they go into Graham Hill Bend, and all of three of them relatively sideways. And Damien Harrington, the one who was sideways of all, seems like he's lost out, and it does look like Bradley Jordan's got a run on him as they head up towards Surtees and McLaren and Clearway section. And yes, it is definitely the case that Bradley Jordan is now back ahead of Damien Harrington after a very quick start for Damien Harrington. Bradley Jordan looks like he's managed to hold him off, and that gives Darren Thomas in the green, number 20, a little bit of breathing space. But as we come across the line, Ross Bilson does make his attempt on the lead around Spencer Wanstall. Definitely goes to the wide line as they come into Paddock Hill Bend, and he's holding it right the way round the outside of Paddock Hill Bend. An incredibly impressive move by Ross Bilson in the number 2 car, that blue and white Mini. And as they get to Druids, he's comfortably in front of Spencer Wanstall. That was one of the moves of the weekend, definitely round the outside of Paddock Hill Bend there, and he's made that one stick.
He has indeed, yep. So good battling between these 6 cars as it stands. We look at the S-Class as well up towards the right-hander of Druids. Just to add insult to injury, really, for Joel Wren, who's had a terrible weekend. He's now received a 10-second penalty for an out-of-position start. So he was the championship leader coming here this weekend, but he's had 1 DNF. He's had a 4th place earlier today, and now he's going to have a 10-second penalty added to his final time as well. So not the weekend that Joel Wren would have wanted as he works his way now in that S-Class down through Surtees and up towards McLaren. But for the race lead, it's Ross Billison that still heads it. Car number 2 now back ahead of Spencer Wanstall as they run almost side by side in towards Paddock Hill Bend. You've got that of Darren Thomas in 3rd place, the first of our green cars, the likely green car behind of Damien Harrington, who's going to go for a move on the outside in towards Druids. So the first step done onto the podium, but there's going to be arms and elbows to keep him at bay, which they do. So 4th place still for that number car of Damien Harrington, which is 29. And further back, looks like Glenn Woodbridge is down the inside of Bradley Jordan for 5th place. So this is your 6-car attack for the lead. And then behind that, in what's going to be 7th place, is the 38 car of Stephen Hopper. And then Jamie Payne completes the top 8 at the minute.
Yep, certainly does. But Ross Bilson is now looking that a little bit more relaxed in the lead. I mean, as relaxed as you can be in one of these races. But the battle at the moment looks like it is for 3rd place. And it is Darren Thomas in the green with the white flashes on the side, the number 20 machine, being incredibly heavily pushed by Damien Harrington in the 29. He's all over the back of him and takes the much wider line as they go into Paddock Hill Bend. Last time around he had an audacious move around the outside at the Druids hairpin, and let's see if he can manage it again. He tries again the same tactic to go round the outside, and the reason he's doing that, he's then on the inside for Graham Hill Bend, and this time around it looks like he's going to make it stick. He does. Very, very impressive move by Damien Harrington, and so impressive in fact he's now right on the boot lid of Spencer Wanstall in 2nd place. So a great half a lap there for Damien Harrington in the 29 car. He not only makes his way up into 3rd place, but certainly makes inroads into that 2nd place, and is now putting Spencer Wanstall in under pressure. It does mean that the number 2 of Ross Bilson is able to just eke out a little bit, now about a car and a half's length ahead of that chasing pack. Ross in the number 2, that white and blue machine that's now leading as we come across the line. It's interesting to see what Damien Harrington can do now about Spencer Wanstall's lead, and he's going to make a dive. This time it looked like he was going to the inside, but again he tries the same move again around the outside at Paddock Hill Bend, carrying that momentum. It's been successful for him so far, and can he do it again around Spencer Wanstall? Does look like he's going to have a go. He's around the outside at Druids, and this is where he really wants to hang on to try and catch the inside line to Graham Hill Bend, and it does look like he's able to do that. But Spencer Wanstall's really putting up a fight here as they go into the corner side by side, but Damien Harrington manages to move up and make his way into 2nd place. Spencer Wanstall's right on the boot lid, but this is going to be a cracking finish.
It is indeed, yeah. It's a 5-time winner Damien Harrington trying to keep at bay the 1-time winner Spencer Wanstall as they get very close for comfort over there towards McLaren. So Spencer back through now on the run towards the end of this lap. Damien comes back to the inside, so a nice cut back there for the number 29 machine. So more wins to the man who now gets back ahead of Spencer Wanstall, but all of a sudden the battling, of course, allows Ross Billison to pull away. So a slightly increased margin now, up to a second between the top two. We've got still there in fourth place Darren Thomas in the number 20 machine, and then fifth place going ahead is Glenn Woodbridge, up now ahead of number 77, which is Bradley Jordan. So some good fights still on as they work their way in towards the next of our corners. And now that Damien Harrington has got a little bit clear track behind him, he might set all of his attentions on the man ahead. So Ross Billison might have it comfortable for the time being, but before too much longer, you can be assured that the 29 machine may have a little bit of a turn of speed here to catch up with the man ahead of him, while the S-Class battle is continuing to rage on as well, with Ollie Burkett leading that one. Michael Winkworth is still there in second, and they are being followed at the minute by Bertie Woolard.
Yep, it is incredibly close. One to keep an eye on is the 77 of Bradley Jordan. 2 laps ago set the fastest lap overall in this race, and he managed to pull right up to the back of this battling pack. He's in 6th place at the moment, but he has got the 39 of Woodbridge not too far ahead of him, although he's now making a move on Darren Thomas and that number 20 car. So that battle is now hotting up for what is 4th, 5th and 6th place. And now we just cast our eyes towards the front of this pack because Damien Harrington is just eking that little bit closer to Ross Billison, and I would say about another half lap or so, probably next time by the time we get to Paddock Hill Bend, Damien Harrington is in that number 29 car, is going to be right on the boot lid of Ross Billison in the number 2 car. Damien Harrington last time by set the fastest lap of the race, and he's the first person to go under the 59 second mark as well, so an incredibly impressive lap so far from him, and he's definitely got the bit between his teeth, probably cursing the fact that he ended up in the gravel earlier on in this race. Managed to get himself free, but now as they come down the start finish line, the 29 is barrelling along right on the tail of Ross Billison in the number 2 car, that white and blue car, and Damien Harrington going for that classic move he's done all weekend around the outside at Paddock Hill Bend, trying to keep the momentum as they go down towards Druid Corner. It looks like he's going to try on Ross that he's done on other drivers around the outside, but Ross Billison very wise to that move. He's probably been watching it in the mirrors throughout the last few laps of this race. Puts his car right in the middle of the track and doesn't enable Damien Harrington to get on the inside at Graham Hill Bend. So great piece of defensive driving there. The battle for 4th, 5th and 6th is really hotting up, with Darren Thomas just holding up the 39 of Glenn Woodbridge rather nicely, and Bradley Jordan in the 77 right on the tail of both of these, and that battle is incredibly close as our leaders come back towards the start finish line.
This is going to be the comeback of all comebacks if Damien Harrington can win this race here for the final time this weekend. Ross Billison, 4-time winner so far this year, hasn't won since Silverstone back in June, and now trying his hardest to keep at bay that of Damien Harrington, who goes for a wide line on the approach. He then goes for the cut back through Paddock Hill Bend, but then Ross will get very quickly to the inside to defend. The speed is carried all the way round towards Druids to see Damien Harrington on the outside line. He can't quite carry the momentum all the way through. He's just going to try and keep his nose along the rear quarter of Ross Billison, which he does. He's been squeezed all the way to the edge of the track, but he's got through. He needs to now hold it through the corner at Graham Hill Bend, which he does. He then has to go defensive and try and keep Ross Billison at bay, which he now does. So a great fight between them. It might be a little bit close to the edge of the circuit, but they are fighting as fair as they possibly can, with Spencer Wanstall now starting to close into the mix here. So all of a sudden, the 3rd place car is going to be with the top 2 as they turn their way through Clearways and Clark Curve. We've got 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the clock. There's a bit of traffic to deal with on this occasion as well, but there's going to be 2 more to go for the race leaders. And whilst they battle, there's also a good fight on for 4th place, which is headed by Darren Thomas, followed by Glenn Woodbridge and Bradley Jordan towards the rear of that one as well, who goes for a bit of a defensive move in towards Paddock, does Glenn Woodbridge. But they're having a good fight, those 3, but it's the top 3 out front, which is where we need to focus, with Damien Harrington still leading by a couple of car lengths as they turn their way in towards Druids, and then Ross Billison and the final step at the podium for Spencer Wanstall. Yeah, Spencer Wanstall got his headlights on blazing at the moment now, or he did have a second ago, and he's trying to use that tactic to just intimidate Ross Billison a little bit. And Spencer Wanstall's been pretty quiet through the second half of the race, but using the opportunity and seeing what's going on in front with those lead 2 battling, that now's his chance with just
40 seconds left on the clock. So as they come round this time by, they are going to start the last lap of this race. But it is Damien Harrington who, this is, as you say, the comeback driver of the day, I think. And he is now in the lead and got 3 or 4 car lengths, which in the terms of this kind of race is massive. Ross Bilson is now under pressure from Spencer Wanstall in the 73 behind him. That battle for 4th place incredibly close as Bradley Jordan has a dive up the inside as they exit Paddock Hill Bend and go up towards Druids. He goes down the inside of Glen Woodbridge, and it does look like the 77 may make that stick, and he has. He's taken 5th place. It is still the number 20 of Darren Thomas holding 4th place, but Bradley Jordan doing a great job there in managing to get 5th place, and is now hot on the heels of Darren Thomas in the green and white car, but he has only got half a lap left as our leaders now through the Clearways section of the circuit onto Clark Curve, and it is Damien Harrington who is going to lead this race across the finish line by the look of it, but 2nd place is certainly going to be the bit that's going to be battled for. But Damien Harrington is going to cross the line with 2 or 3 car length lead, but it is Ross Bilson in the number 2 that takes 2nd, and Spencer Wanstall in the number 73 that takes the 3rd. Great battle there, and across the line, a change on the line for 4th, 5th and 6th, and it was the number 20 of Darren Thomas that crosses the line in 4th place. Incredibly close behind him was Glen Woodbridge, who managed to just pit Bradley Jordan on the line in the 77 car. So an incredibly close finish there. That top 6 were then followed home by the next of the S-Class cars, and it was the leader there of the S-Class, and it was Ollie Burkitt in the 746 car in 8th place, and 2nd place in the S-Class was Winkworth in the number 796 car, and Woolard in 763 rounded up the top 3 in the S-Class, and 10th place was the number 14 car of Jamie Payne. But we'll run through the top 10 or the whole leaderboard again in a minute. But what a race, and what a comeback drive from Damien Harrington, who started well, ended up in the gravel, and then finished up with not only the fastest lap of the race but also the race win in that kind of 2-part race. But Damien Harrington is our winner, with Ross Bilson in 2nd, Spencer Wanstall 3rd, Darren Thomas 4th, Glen Woodbridge in 5th, Bradley Jordan in 6th, Oliver Burkitt leading home the S-Class cars in 7th place, Michael Winkworth in 8th. And then as we move a little bit further down the order, Louis Burkitt in 13th, Callum Perfect in 14th, Jack Vanner 15th, James May in 16th, Joel Wren, who's not had the greatest of weekends, in 17th, Harry Taylor 18th, Danny Bolster in 19th, Gareth Hunt 20th. And just looking at the last of the leaderboard here, these are the cars that didn't finish, and poor Daniel Monroe, who's not had again a great weekend with that 10-second penalty in the first race for an out-of-grid start. That was followed up by whatever that mechanical issue was that lent to some steam or some kind of issue, and then also looked like a bit of an oil leak on the grid, so he didn't manage to finish. But the Goodyear Mini Challenges, the Mini 7s, supported by Mini Spares races this weekend, have given us a huge amount of entertainment, as they always do. And it's been one of those races where you kind of look at the clock and realise there's only a minute left, and you're quite disappointed, because the racing has been absolutely outstanding. And as we wait for Matt to get down to the far end of the pit lane, we do have to wait a bit, because we've got quite a walk from the comms box down to the pit lane. He'll be down there to interview our top 3, and it does look like Damien Harrington. Someone needs to give him a bottle of water. In fact, he's got one. That's good to see, because he has worked pretty hard through that race. And Matt, are you down there with the winners now?
I am indeed, yep. So our top 3 have been brought into the pit lane. Damien Harrington, another sterling drive in that race. We'll get his thoughts after what were an eventful 20 minutes of racing. So having a quick chat there with Ross Billison, and we need to grab him over here. Come here, Damien, come and join us if you wouldn't mind. Stand in front of your lovely looking car. You know which one's yours.
This side, not the other.
Right, we said in commentary, comeback of all comebacks there. That was a bit frightful for the gravel, but then you had the aid of the red flag, and you did your thing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you go into the gravel at paddock, you don't expect to win the race, do you? So I was quite, you know, I just pinned it as soon as I hit the gravel. I pinned it back into first, pinned it, fingers crossed, got out. Apologies for the gravel I put on the track for everyone else, but you know, I had to try and get back into the race. So then I was clawing my way back anyway. Red flag definitely helped, and then I was just on a mission from there.
It's been a great weekend for you, hasn't it? With 2 wins, a second place, 6 wins now this year.
Well, you know what? It's just been a lot of fun. I mean, this is a great fun track. It's honestly probably the hardest track we do in terms of there's no rest at all, especially when you're racing these guys on you every time. I spend more time looking in my rearview mirror than I do in where I'm going. So, yeah, it's hectic. I'm exhausted. I need to lie down. I need some more sugar. I mean, yeah, it's been a good weekend, though.
There was a bit of a squeeze towards the end as well. Ross was trying to put you on the grass, wasn't he?
Yeah, I had the overlap, and I knew I had the overlap, and I knew I could complete the move. It's one of my favourite moves around there, so I've done a few people around the outside at Druids and keep it pinned into Graham Hill. But I would like to say thank you very much to all of my team, Phil, Connor, Scott, Adam, Lenny, all done an amazing job. Great team, and thanks very much to my family for coming out and supporting me.
Good stuff. Well done, Damien. Ross, come and join us here as well. Congratulations to you on second place. Been a bit of an up and down weekend, a first, a second and a fourth. Not bad.
No, second, third and second. But unfortunately I didn't get the top step. But first just want to apologise to Damien. Sort of took him out a bit into paddock. Wasn't intentional. But I don't feel as bad now as he came back through and won. So, yeah, it was a good race. Just annoyed that I didn't hold on to the win. So.
There we go. You'll go again next time.
Definitely. I just want to say a massive thank you to my team, the CI Group for my sponsorship, and for KAD for giving me the lovely engine. So yeah, you know, without all of those guys, I wouldn't be able to do it. So.
Good stuff. Well done, Ross. Spencer Wanstall is the man who finished in third. Spencer, come and join us here very quickly before the next race. Not bad. It's been a kind of a recovery weekend for you, but a nice way to end with a podium.
Yeah, happy days, another podium. I was just sort of waiting for the two in front to have another coming together, which I could capitalise on. And it nearly came, but it never came. I was sort of sitting there thinking, yeah, I'll settle for this because I could see some chaos about to unfold, but not quite enough chaos to get me a few more places up. But yeah, bringing the car home in one piece, only a few little scrapes and scratches, so give it a clean and we're ready to go for Crofton in a few weeks.
What were you thinking though when the red flag came out, because you were leading at that point?
I was sort of thinking, like hopefully they just pull the checkered flag out and call it a day, yeah, and I'll get the win. But yeah, I was thinking we've still got a lot of work to do, just like in the first race, but we'd done it earlier in the day, so no reason we couldn't do it again. But yeah, Damien was on a charge after going off earlier in the race, and he had the bit between his teeth, and I think it would have took a lot to slow him down. So yeah, well done, Damien.